What? You want to make money? Where are the stars? Come on. But so I do that as well. So I play with my band. My bands, unfortunately or not, we aren't playing as much as we want to. But it kind of leaves room for personal appearances, which are always easy to do. Like this is like a Brother Louie, Ian Lloyd interview, whatever. Same thing. But Social Hero is my main. It's just the most amount of time. We have the most amount of shows, and we're playing tomorrow night in New York, Friday night in Delaware, Saturday night in D.C., and then back, and we'll move into the Social Hero thing. We have our first album, The Famous, with a video for Gone, which we played you the song in there.
You sound great, by the way.
The music is great. My son is the principal songwriter, and he formed the band with Brandon Lottie, the bass player, and we have lead guitar. My son is the lead singer and rhythm guitar, sometimes lead guitarist, and our lead guitarist is Brandon Lottie's brother, Griffin Lottie.
Ooh, man, good.
So we have two brothers, a father and a son,
right.
And our drummer, who's been with us the shortest, the band's been together about 12 years. DePayne is the young kid on the new kid on the block.
With the 60s t-shirt.
Yeah, he's 2 years old. Oh no, he's early 20s, 2 years into the band. And I have to say, because it really, we went through a lot of drummers. And we've had some, the first album, The Famous, available at machinedreamrecords.com or iTunes. Go to machinedreamrecords.com. Our drummer who did that was great, but he left and we got a new drummer. Our new drummer's dad is a drummer, professional drummer. He's out on tour right now with Rock of Ages, which was a big Broadway thing that's gone out on the road. And there's a live recording that I just listened to when we were in Chicago with Social Hero, Detroit, Chicago, Pennsylvania. Played with David Bowie on one of the Spiders tours as the drummer. So it's kind of like we all have some kind of interconnection with music, history, or blood related, which is a little different, But we are now Social Heroes now. We've recorded all the basic tracks for the second CD, untitled right now, and you've heard a bunch of the songs, and then it's like there's song. I wouldn't just jerk my chain to do it because it's my son. I would encourage him and help him, but I'm a part of the band because it's just so great. The songs are so great. I love performing the songs, and God knows, I've performed with Foreigner, I've recorded with Foreigner, and all these on every album.
Your son's name is David?
David Lloyd. Social Hero.
So it's like grandfather to father to son.
Well, my mom was a lyric sopranist, Valerie Lamoureux. She performed at Carnegie Hall as a solo artist. She and my dad both performed live with Toscanini on early NBC radio broadcast. Both my mom and dad were part of the, and now your listeners have to be very old to know what I'm talking about, even older than I or
me.
They both performed with Fred Waring, and Fred Waring was Fred Waring and the.
And every time you use a Waring blender, he came up with that.
Yeah, I don't know if he was. Did he really?
Seriously?
No, I don't. Really? Okay.
That's the urban legend.
I believe everything. Until you tell me something that I can't believe, I believe.
I thought I'd blend that in there.
I can't remember what they were called. Fred Waring and the Pennsylvanians? Because they were from Waring, Pennsylvania. I don't know, but they were somewhere. But anyway, he was on. They were on tour. Both my mom and dad. And I'm very proud of this, and I really wonder if any of your listeners have an answer to this, please contact me. MachineDreamRecords.com. MachineDreamRecords.com. Obviously, my mom performed as a soloist at Carnegie Hall. Featured, on the venue and stuff. I hung out in backstage or in the audience when there was no audience for rehearsals when my dad was asked to sit in for a show in the orchestra that was performing at Carnegie Hall. Stories after they had the #1 Brother Louie, I was given the gold record presented to me. I was presented the gold record
We're stepping
for
into
Brother Louie.
We're stepping into the bathroom, by the way.
The ladies' room.
Ladies'
Woo! Hello, ladies. Hello.
It's cleaner in here, a little quiet.
Oh, it definitely is. Smells bad. I was so anyway. I was backstage
Nice acoustics.
at Carnegie. I was much nicer. At Carnegie Hall, my mom, my dad performed. I performed at Carnegie Hall. Stories played with the Raspberries. We both had #1 records. Brother Louie was #1. Dennis Elsis, a famous NEW FM, along with Scott Muni and those guys, presented me the gold record, the band gold record backstage, and we went out and performed. So I was like second generation Carnegie Hall on that stage. My son, who Social Hero, has not played Carnegie Hall yet. I don't know if they have. After the Rolling Stones, they kind of like stopped.
I know.
I did see the Rolling Stones.
Sid was invited never to have any accent.
No more
Carnegie
booking.
Hall.
But in any event, my son was in the choir as a. He was probably like 10, 11 years old. During the Bosnia debacle, Marvin Hamlish wrote a song for Bosnia. I think it was actually called A Song for Bosnia or A Song for Bosnia, which was performed, if not recorded, I should find that out, live performance at Carnegie Hall, and they got choir, they chose children from different schools in Manhattan to perform in this choir to do the song. And there's a whole event at Carnegie Hall, and my son was one of them. So he stepped foot and performed on Carnegie Hall stage as a third generation. So my question is, are there other I'm sure there are, but I don't know who they are. Are there other three-generation Carnegie Hall performers? Are there 4-generation? It'd be kind of interesting.
Folks, anybody know?
Yeah, so
it's Machine Dream
Records.
MachineDreamRecords.com. MachineDreamRecords.com.
There are so many Ian Lloyds that I can't even get IanLloyd.com. So I gave up. I said, okay.
Interesting. Again, father to son to son. My dad was a big band drummer, band leader.
Really?
Yeah. Henry Youngman was his violinist, and John Carroll was his lead vocalist, male vocalist.
Wow.
Yet I can't play a lick, but my daughter can pick up any instrument and just
skip a generation. Yeah, it shouldn't have skipped. Maybe there was like something that happened in your childhood that kind of stunted.
I don't know what it is, but
I'll never perform.
But the first thing I noticed about my kid as an adult that to be a musician you have to be musical in the mind, and you have to be expressive in the hands. So it's got to flow.
It's a whole body. It's a whole
body kind of thing. If something is blocking that from coming out, something about the hands, so she's able to express. And the musicians have.
How old is she?
She's 42 now.
Was she professional or
no?
So she just is
just
musical and
what
does she play? What instruments?
She plays drum, not drum, but
drums.
Keyboard. No, keyboard.
Thank God, not the drums.
She loves violin.
Oh, nice.
She loves to do that. Keyboard. She just sits down at the piano and plays. So that's good. Anyway, back to you.
Music is the universal language. That's like, it doesn't matter what's going on. And that's why I personally kind of, I was going to say earlier, just to get back really quickly, so you had the 60s, the best and worst of the time. The 70s were good, but there was kind of a decline as we got to the middle and headed towards the end. And if you remember, towards the end, we had disco coming in. Yeah. So everything kind of was changing and becoming...
70s was a breather. It was kind of like the breather getting over the 60s.
And then we hit the 80s, and the 80s became like crazy punk and garbage pop. And, I can't... I guess Foreigner was in there, and they were, they were a legitimate rock band. But, so by the time we hit the 90s, we got to, in my opinion, because a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, of course, but I have met recently some people that agree. I became a huge fan of the 90s rock music, Soundgarden and STP and all Stone Temple Pilot and all the obvious bands, and they really paid tribute. They were like so. You could just hear Hendrix and all these different bands in their music, even though they were creating new music. It was, you could just feel stuff that I loved as from the 60s coming out in the 90s, which is...
I heard a band a couple of years ago, Panic at the Disco. Great stuff.
Sure.
Great,
I know who they are, yeah.
It looks like you're kind of on some sort of a time thing, and so are we. We're gonna shut this down.
People are calling me.
Is that what you're getting?
I'm so happy. John Ford just called me, and
you're on.
I'm like, John, I can't take it now. I'll talk to you later.
Great. Okay. What's left to talk about?
Go to machinedreamrecords.com. Check out Social Hero. Check out Ian Lloyd, Oedipo, and whatever. And oh my God, I almost forgot. Big plug on this one. There's a comedian by the name of Louis C.K. And although he's not a household word in some households, he's very successful. And, very harsh reality right in your face kind of. He's very New York. So he's like Seinfeld without boundaries. He has he's had multiple HBO specials and traveled around, a lot of late night. I became familiar with him because I've seen him on Conan. I'm a big late night TV fan. And he's got a show on FX Network, which is one of the national cable networks, called Louie. And this guy, Louis, I love you, Louis, tracked me down to get me to re-sing the chorus to Brother Louie for the theme song for Louie on Fox. And so I think the first season is over. It was successful. There's a box or DVD of it. I'm so proud of it because once again, along with the Marijuana Music Awards, I am once again reborn and contemporary of the 21st century. Every time you see that show, you hear me sing the newer version, short theme song, 60 seconds. And it's been picked up for a second season. So in June, there'll be another 12 episodes, and there's a nice, at the end, it says, theme song, Brother Louie, courtesy of Ian Lloyd, machinedreamrecords.com. Of course. So it's like, that's all I had to say, because, definitely great show, very funny, they're very colored, so, if you go to church and drink tea, you might not enjoy it, or it'll make you embarrassed. But.
So on the road, you're with Ian Lloyd's and Stories?
Ian Lloyd's Stories.
Ian Lloyd's Stories.
Social Hero, we're out there. I'm recording and perform on and off with John Ford of the Straubs and Ian Lloyd's Stories. And when things are really going well, it's John Ford, Ian Lloyd's Stories, and Social Hero. Okay. I mean, when we all three get together, it's like, man, you got a 3-hour show that's just very musical.
Anything we haven't covered?
Probably, but I can't remember. Later I'll call you and we can do a phone.
You got it. Okay,
it's great to see you after 71, 81, 91.
Long time, 40 years.
Something. 41?
42. Our guest on this edition of Visions, a series of visits to almost everywhere, New York City Visions, is Ian Lloyd, true rock star. Ian Lloyd, in the background we're hearing his band and his son's band, Social Hero, working.
Let's walk.
We're standing in the ladies' room.
Let's listen to a little bit of it. Matter of fact, drag that in, and I will start singing along with it. Okay.
I don't know. Okay, we can try that.
That's right.
Okay, here we go. I got to get past this couch. Here we go. It's going to be a little bit loud. I'm going to stand outside and listen. host and fellow traveler Herb Malzman. Thanks for tuning in, and we're going to close here in the ladies' room. Again, thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
What? You want to make money? Where are the stars? Come on. But so I do that as well. So I play with my band. My bands, unfortunately or not, we aren't playing as much as we want to. But it kind of leaves room for personal appearances, which are always easy to do. Like this is like a Brother Louie, Ian Lloyd interview, whatever. Same thing. But Social Hero is my main. It's just the most amount of time. We have the most amount of shows, and we're playing tomorrow night in New York, Friday night in Delaware, Saturday night in D.C., and then back, and we'll move into the Social Hero thing. We have our first album, The Famous, with a video for Gone, which we played you the song in there.
You sound great, by the way.
The music is great. My son is the principal songwriter, and he formed the band with Brandon Lottie, the bass player, and we have lead guitar. My son, the young kid on the new kid on the block.
With the 60s t-shirt.
Yeah, he's 2 years old. Oh no, he's early 20s, 2 years into the band, and I have to say, because it really, we went through a lot of drummers, and we've had some, the first album, The Famous, available as the lead singer and rhythm guitar, sometimes lead guitarist, and our lead guitarist is Brandon Lottie's brother, Griffin Lottie.
Ooh, man, good.
So we have two brothers, a father and a son,
right.
And our drummer, who's been with us the shortest, the band's been together about 12 years.
D-Pain?
DePayne is the